Okay, so we are live once again, and I have another unboxing. And today's chapter in Aquapalooza is Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom Aquaman 12-inch figure. This is the Aquaman in the standard costume. We can see the cross-sole artwork on the back. There were 5 characters, and I only managed to get this one. But this was I grabbed this one when they were first on sale at Walmart for $5, and I figured if any of these, you know, all the stuff was half off, like as soon as it showed up at Walmart. and, I figured if I want any of these, it's going to be this 12-inch figure because I think this is really sharp. So I also have to compare from the first Aquaman movie back when Mattel was doing the 12-inch figures, so we can look at the differences between this one and the new one. But I do want to give a shout out to Spin Master, and they've been doing a really good job with the 12-inch figures ever since they took over this line. And like, there's some things I've liked better on the Mattel figures, but for the most part, I feel like the Spin Master figures are actually a bit more high quality. So we'll go ahead and just cut all the rubber tabs on him. I'm not even going to bother with opening this package up because it just has a big hole in the front. There's no window. There's not a lot of structural integrity to it. You can see like it started to kind of bend in here at the middle. I had seen some of these at Target recently that were on more of a box that was more box shaped. It had a square window in the front, and that seemed a little more sturdy. And it looks like there's a lot more cool stuff coming from Spin Master soon. I guess that despite the Flash movie not doing that great, the Michael Keaton Batman toys from the Flash movie must have done awesome because they've got more Michael Keaton Batman stuff on the way. They've got a Batman Returns single carded figure, and they've got a Batwing with a Batman figure in it. I'm hoping that's a 1989 Batman and not a Batman Returns Batman because that wouldn't make a lot of sense. But whatever gets me more Michael Keaton Batman, I'm gonna be happy with. So and they also had 12-inch figures that I saw of Christian Bale as Batman and Heath Ledger as the Joker. So that's going to be awesome. So here's Aquaman out of the package. And we can see it's got like the 3 3/4 inch figure, an excellent likeness of Jason Momoa. Only now in the larger scale, we can appreciate it a bit more. He's got a nice, bulky musculature to him, as you would expect an action figure of Jason Momoa as Aquaman. Look at that detail. There's a lot of good detail with the obviously with Aquaman. You want to have that scaly orange shirt that the character's always been famous for. And in the movie, it's a little more on the golden side than on the orange side. But it's one of those things where oftentimes if something's gold in a comic book, you can interpret that as, or if it's orange in a comic book, I'm sorry, it's supposed to be interpreted as gold. Like, for example, Starfire, she's not supposed to have orange skin, she's supposed to have gold skin. But with Aquaman, I'm not sure what the original intent would have been in the Golden Age when they created him, because he was created in the 1940s. But it's I don't think there's any documentation of anybody saying, yeah, we colored it orange because that's all the color we had, but it was supposed to be gold. A lot of times with all these characters, you do have like Will Eisner had said at some point, the Spirit's supposed to be wearing a black suit. And that happens a lot where, you have a character that's in black, but they use a blue highlight. And over time, just kind of the blue, more and more of it creeps in. Batman was a similar thing. Spider-Man was originally wearing a red and black costume, not a red and blue costume. But, it might have been the sort of thing where maybe they always intended Aquaman to be wearing a gold shirt instead of an orange shirt. But the paint detail is really good on this, because it's molded in a gold plastic, but then it has like a kind of a gold overspray over it, and then even like a little bit more of a sort of coppery sort of color to acknowledge the orange, lightly oversprayed over like the tops of the muscle. And they did this on the 3 3/4 inch figure as well. We can see, but I feel like again, with the larger scale of the 12-inch figure, you can really appreciate it. A lot of good paint detail on the face. Like they put some effort into making this guy look as realistic as possible. Now let's compare again with the Mattel figure that would come out with the first movie, and you can see that it's just kind of molded in this sort of like yellowy orangish plastic. It's not even particularly metallic. The sculpting's really good. The sculpting, I think, on these two are both on a par, and maybe even the sculpt of this one might be a slightly better likeness of Jason Momoa. But the paint details on the Spin Master figure just blow it out of the water, and they actually bothered to use some metallic paints, whereas the Mattel figure didn't really bother to do that. It's just kind of like these sort of matte colors. It's kind of a little bit metallic on the gloves and the boots, but even then, the Spin Master version is a lot shinier. And I kind of feel like the proportions are like just a little bit better on the Spin Master figure too. Like he's a little more bulky and musculature. Again, like you want a Jason Momoa Aquaman to be, but it's essentially the same costume. I don't know if it's like the exact same costume between the two movies. And they probably did like some updates and some renovations here and there, but it looks pretty much like the same costume. It's not even as different as the costumes were between Henry Cavill in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. So yeah, let's go over the articulation. Now I've been kind of playing around with them a little bit, and it does seem like his arms are a little gummy, but the arms are meant to rotate all the way around. Hopefully over time those will kind of loosen up a little bit, but those are really tight joints right now. Bend at the elbows about that far, rotate. They should rotate all the way around, yeah, but they're a little gummy. A lot of these joints are a little gummy. There's no accessories whatsoever. It would be really nice if he had to come with a trident, but he does not. That is unfortunate. Legs kick up about that far, so we could have a better range of motion at the legs. Going back to the Mattel version, his legs kick up a bit further, but not a whole lot further. So I don't know if maybe it's the shape of the belt that caused it to have a little more. Excuse me. You can see that, like, if you look at where the joint is, the joint is actually a little bit closer to the belt on the Mattel figure than it is on the Spin Master figure, so that might have something to do with it. But like you see how the belt kind of points down, it does kind of take up a lot of space that might otherwise be occupied by joints. And then his knee bends down about that far. Simple knee joint, not any kind of rotation to it, just a hinge there. And then of course he can do the splits no problem. Not the best splits, but compare that to the Mattel figure. And even with these armor pieces being a separate rubber piece, whereas on this one they're sculpted onto the leg, he still has a greater range of motion with the splits. But he's not Jean-Claude Van Damme, so, you know, I think that's respectable. So anyway, I'm glad I picked this guy up. I would have liked to have gotten some more of these, but like I said, like these actually sold pretty well at the Walmart. I guess once people figured out they were half price. And the next week I went up there, the only one they had left was Black Manta. And I wasn't really too impressed with the Black Manta figure because, like I said, he had those chunky thunder thighs. And it's not like you can add too much more paint detail to Black Manta. He's basically wearing like a black suit and has a silver helmet. And I think the Mattel version had a black helmet, but that was accurate to the first movie. I think he had a black helmet in the first movie. But I'm going completely off memory, so I could be mistaken. Oh, and he does have wrist articulations, so the wrists rotate all the way around. I think I forgot to mention that. So yeah, really cool figure. I'm glad I picked him up. I really like these cheap $10 figures. They've always been something that's been something I've enjoyed collecting ever since Mattel started doing them way back in what was it, 2011? They started doing that, I think. It would have been the same year as the New 52, and it would have been like just too late for them to do figures for the Christopher Nolan Dark Knight trilogy, because I think it was just after I think it was just after Dark Knight Rises that that this really became a format that toy companies were taking advantage of, and it's a shame they never got around to those, because I would have loved to have had those. And hey, Spin Master's doing them now, so I'll at least be able to get Batman and the Joker from Dark Knight Trilogy in that format, and hopefully they'll do some more. I'd love to have, like, characters from all the Burton and Schumacher Batman movies in this format, and some more Snyderverse characters, of course. Like, we got Batman, obviously. You know, all the main Justice League members: Superman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman. They all got 12-inch figures like this. Oh, here, like, this is a variant of Wonder Woman that Mattel made, where she was in the new 52 colors, which I'm not really a fan of any of the new 52 costumes, really. But I did think that in the movie costume looked pretty sharp in these colors. And she had extra armor at the shoulders, which I thought was pretty neat. So yeah, some exciting things are coming from Spin Master, and I want to give them a shout out, because they went the extra mile with this figure. Like this is a really high quality figure for the price that you're paying for it. And if we look at what Mattel was doing just a few years before, I mean, this is fine. This is a child's plaything. Like, I can imagine a kid would have a lot of fun with this. So they didn't really need to take it any further than what Mattel did, but they did take it further, and that's really cool. So I think this was a line that deserved a little more support from Walmart than being marked down to half price, like, as soon as they got it. I'm not going to complain too much, because I was able to get a lot of these figures on the cheap, and that's good. But yeah, like, I think if they had have had these just at full retail, they probably still would have sold pretty well. And then maybe they could have marked down whatever they had after Christmas to half price. But as it is, they had everything at half price immediately, and then put it at ridiculously cheap prices once Christmas was over. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff. I can't talk. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this figure, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.